Hello. Hello. No audio. There we go. Maybe that's why everybody left. We had no audio. No audio. There we go. Maybe that's why everybody left. We had no audio. How funny. So we were running through this and we had no audio. So we were running through this and we had no audio. Okay. Maybe we'll pick up some more people now. Okay. Maybe we'll pick up some more people now. So we're learning how to use the StreamYard, and we should have left this. Guess I should have put my earbuds in so I could tell that everybody could hear. I'm gonna turn this down. You guys, let me know how the audio is. So what we're doing, this is a Predator motor that I took in on a trade with a Harley that I had. And I took this in, and it's a 212 cc motor, which is a little too much motor for a little kid to be riding around on a mini bike on. So I was tearing into it to see what kind of mods were done to it. And these are neat motors if you're thinking about doing a little project with your son or daughter or your grandson or your granddaughter, because they're $180 brand new. And then you can take them to like a stage 3 or 4 for like peanuts, man. $300 and some parts. You can put a flat top piston in them, put a different carburetor on them. So there's a lot of things that you can do to these on the cheap. So what I think I'm going to do with this one, we were going to put this in the mini bike, but it goes like 60 miles an hour. So I was going to put a lockout on it for the throttle, but I just thought it was a bad idea to turn this over to like a 10-year-old kid. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to get a different motor to put back in the mini bike project. And then, how come I'm getting audio? Why was it doing that? Oh, it's playing a back play or something. It's playing it again. What is it doing? Hang on a second. I got something playing in the background for some reason. Give me a second, guys. I got something. What am I on here? Oh, I see. Why is it doing that? Hang on, I got double audio going here for some reason. Okay, we got rid of it. I don't know what that was about. I had 2 pages open or something, man. Anyhow, we're back. I keep losing people because we're messing with this software. I apologize for that. So this was a motor that we took in on a Harley project, and it was just too much motor for a little kid. It's 212 cc's. So we figured we're going to take this thing apart and put it in a go-kart. and then we're gonna get a smaller motor to put into the mini bike. So the mini bike project, we're gonna paint it. We're gonna make it look like a little tiny Harley. So I'm gonna put I'm just gonna take this cover off now. You guys can see that. This is I'm just popping the cover off. So this is kind of cool because you know, we can that'll be wild. Yeah, it will be wild. So what I'm gonna do, but check it out. So these little motors, you can get like a stage 3 or 4 kit for these things for like $400. It comes with an upgraded flywheel, piston, camshaft. So you can do a lot to these little things for like dirt cheap, man. And that's why I'm kind of tearing into this. I want to try to teach people how to do auto repair. And there's a lot of people that don't know anything. So right now, I'm just taking this cover off. And you can see right here, somebody left this wire just hanging. So this wasn't even hooked to nothing. So they bypassed this to put the kill switch up on the throttle, which was a smart idea, really. Hauser Con LLC. We didn't have no audio, man. We started this out. We've been going at it for like, I don't know, 20 minutes, and nobody spoke up and said, hey, we can't hear you. So we didn't know, but we got it fixed now. I'm pretty sure we got audio now. Yeah, we got audio now. I need to put my earbuds, my AirPods in when I'm doing this, so I know that I got good audio or not. Now you just learned a lesson right there. So we got 4 people in the room right now. So anyhow, you guys haven't been to one of the lives on Friday nights, we give away tools. I'll show you something we gave away last night real quick. What are you guys up to? What's going on today? Hauser Con LLC, welcome to the live. Check it out. This is what we gave away last night. It's a no-code Genius 1 1-amp battery charger. Hey, thanks for letting me know. Hey, good. I'm glad you're one of those people, because that's kind of what I've been a mechanic for 40 years, so I'm an ASC certified master mechanic, and I can teach at just about every level. So that's kind of what we're trying to do with the channel. And then we post videos too. But I thought this would be a fun little project to do in the house, because I can tear this thing down right here on the camera and get a really nice view of everything. And people can learn something. So this thing is just way overpowered for a kid to have in a mini bike. This mini bike goes like 60 miles an hour. It's dangerous for a young kid to be riding around in. So I don't know if you guys can see this right here. So this goes to the coil right here, this wire you see going into the motor, that's the kill switch. So when you go to off, it takes that to ground. You see this little ground wire right here? So when you go to off, it grounds that wire and that shuts the motor off. But we're gonna cut this because I'm gonna pull this cover off. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it right here and get this out of the way. Go, just cut it here. I'm going to redo all this. Somebody did a really crappy job at the electrical on it. I'm kind of anal about electrical because that's what I do for a living. I build police cars, so I do a lot of electrical work. And the reason you see me using these end wrenches is because I want to teach people that you don't have to have a lot of tools to work on stuff, you know. I may have to break something. That one broke loose. I'll show you a little trick too. See how tight that is and it won't go? Can you guys see that? Let's get this way. You can see that. So that wrench is being kind of stubborn right there. So what you can do is take a second wrench. Let's get that where you can see me. Right there. Just take a second wrench and double it up on here like that. And then it just gives you some leverage. That baby's in there, man. So they either stripped it. We got it though. See how I doubled up that wrench? That's a good way to break stuff loose. If you're out in the middle of nowhere, man, you got a really tight one, I'll show you that little trick. A lot of people know it, but if you've never worked on stuff, it's kind of neat. Hey, thanks for letting me know, Hauser. Am I saying your name right? Hooser Khan. Where are you from, brother? I'll show you that trick here in a minute so you remember how to do it. So one thing I've been telling people, I worked on this thing for like 20 minutes with no volume. So all this is there's like 4 little bolts that holds this cover on. So I'm just taking them off. There's 8mm bolts. And I could have went and got an impact gun and done this in like 3 seconds. But I want to show people, you can do this. You don't need a lot of tools to work on these. And this is a good way to learn basic auto repair because it'll teach you the basics about ignition systems and, intake, compression, power, exhaust, and, how the engine runs. So these are a good little way to learn. So I got that off. I've never been into one of these. The first time I pull one apart. So there's the cover. So this is the cover I was telling you about. Now, when you upgrade one of these motors, you need to get a billet cover. And what a billet cover is, they're billet aluminum and they're thick. That way, if this flywheel comes apart at 7,000 RPM, it doesn't rip your leg off. Because what can happen, this thing's rated for about 3,000 RPM. And when you start putting these kits in them, these things will tack out at like 8,000. And when you start spinning that stock flywheel at 8,000, it'll come apart. So they got an updated flywheel for this. So I just wanted to get to that point and kind of look at it. And this is the coil right here. Let's see if you guys can see that. You see this right here? That's the coil. Here's the coil wire that goes over to the plug. And how it works, you see these little parts of the magnet right here? Well, there's a split and it gives it a signal. So every time that magnet goes through there, it fires a coil. And that's what this little wire is about right here. This was the wire that they had hooked to that switch. If you ground that wire, then the coil can't fire. That's how your engine works on your car as well. The new ones though, the new cars have electronics and a lot of controls, but a basic ignition system like a point ignition system, that's basically what this is. And this is giving it this little magnet you see right here on the flywheel is how they're firing that coil. Pretty neat little system, really. Pretty basic. So right now, all we've done to this thing, and I would really drug my feet on it a little bit. You could, and this is the crankshaft. So like when you're going like this, you're turning the crankshaft. And inside there's a camshaft that's rotating that makes the valves go open and close. So what we really wanted to do with this is get it like tore down part way and inspect it. And I got to figure out where the governor is, because these have a governor on them, and I suspect that somebody has went in there and bypassed the governor. And this is a temperature switch. So you can see right here, they bypassed all this. So this right here, I don't know if you can see that or not. We'll see. He's pretty fly for a white. I'm just watching you, man. That's all I'm here. I'm from Maryland. You're from Maryland. Good deal, man. Good deal. Welcome from Maryland. So anyhow, this right here, I'll point to this so you can see this. On these little motors, see this little thing right here? This is a temperature switch. So when the motor gets to a certain temperature, it grounds that coil and turns the motor off. So people bypass those so they can run them at a higher temperature and they don't shut off. And then this little yellow wire right here, you see going into this little sensor, that's an oil sensor inside there. And what happens if it gets low on oil or it starts sloshing around, this will turn the motor off. So they bypass the oil sensor and the temperature sensor so they can run this thing hard without it shutting down. There's some things they didn't do right though. They got this really funky looking spring for the advance. So that needs to be done. And this flywheel, I believe, is a factory one. And you don't want to do that because these things they're governed at 3,000 RPM. And when you take the governor off of them, they'll spin up to $6 or $7 grand and that thing will come apart, man. You don't want to give that to a 10-year-old kid and have it rip his leg off. So we're going to have to do some research on, we're going to probably tear this completely down. But you can see right here, you know, it looks like somebody did an aftermarket carburetor on it. I'll make sure I turned it the right way. It looks right here like somebody did an aftermarket carburetor on it. Fly for a white gear. Yeah. So anyhow, so this, I'm pretty sure this is aftermarket. So they put a carburetor on it. They put a different kind of an air filter on it, the exhaust, and that's about it. So that's like a stage one, what they consider a stage one. And so when you go to like a stage 3 or 4, we'll go in here and put a different, let me turn that so you can see it. This is the valve cover. So on your engine, on your car, you have a valve cover, same thing. This is the same way. It's just got a one intake and one exhaust. So single cylinder. And then this is, we'll tear into that so you can see what a valve looks like and all that stuff. So it's just basic stuff, just basic intake, you know, how a combustion works. But there it is, man. There's the mini bike project. And what we're going to do is I'm going to look into getting a kit for it, and we'll just pull the piston out, put a high top piston in it or a flat top piston, change the valve springs, tension, the camshaft, and maybe a billet. We'll get one of these. So you can get these in steel too, where you don't pay through the nose for them, but this little cover needs to be upgraded to like at least a 1/4 inch thick steel cover, that bare minimum. But if you're going to run like a stage 4 motor, you know, they'll tack out at like 7,000-8,000. So you want this to be made out of something. If that motor comes apart, it keeps all those pieces from coming out flying everywhere. Because that's a lot of RPM for this little motor. Okay, these motors are rated at like 6 horsepower. But when you do the modifications on them, you can bring them up to like 28 horsepower. So, you know, they're no slouch. I mean, this is best for an older child or somebody that has a go-kart. I think we're going to put this in a go-kart, pump it up to like 28 horsepower. Yeah, I'm in a country area. I thought, but it's quiet. I'm not complaining. Yeah, it's nice to have some peace and quiet sometimes. That's for sure. I'm all about that. I do a lot of riding. I like to ride. I'll turn this camera around for a second so you guys can see my ugly mug for a minute. And then we'll do a little bit of something on this thing. What I was doing, I do these lives. And I've been using my phone, so I figure out a way to use my good Sony camera so we can get some, let me turn the screen around so I can see myself in the screen. I got a good Sony camera, so now I figured out with YouTube how to use this camera, because they pump this out to the shorts feed. So if you go horizontal, then they don't push it out like they do. So I figured out today, there was just a setting in StreamYard I had to change. So I changed that. And anyway, they call me Go Big. I own GoBigGarage, and we do videos and we do auto repair. I try to teach people how to do stuff, you know, I've been doing this for 40 years. So that's kind of what I do. Turn the camera back around. You scared me. Yeah, you get those guys, man. We always have to have moderators in here because you get those kind of people in. I'd be scared too, brother. I'd be scared too. Anyway, so that's so on Friday nights we do a live, and we do automotive trivia. We do questions about automotive, and then we give away a tool at the end of the live. Last night we gave away this. Hey, if you guys are interested in one of these little motors, go check out the link that's on the screen. It'll take you right to Amazon. So we gave away this. It's hard to see right there. We gave away this. It's hard to see with this narrow thing going on. I'm looking at my camera and it's like I got a bigger angle than what shows up on the screen. So anyway, we gave away one of these. Cover my opening face up. Let's see, about like that. This is a NOCO Genius One smart charger. So last night after the live, we gave one of those away. And then we had a guy from Australia win some artwork. We spin for artwork too. So if you get a question right, you get to spin the wheel, and if you land on a certain level of the wheel, you get a piece of artwork. And then if at the end of the live, all the people that answered a question correctly gets to spin for a better tool. This Friday night, we're giving away a snap-on wrench. So anyhow, anyway, good seeing. I like that. The 5.7 Hemi. Andrew Albright, you're talking about doing a swap, manual transmission swap. Yeah, you can do that one person. Yeah, you can do that. You just have to be careful. If you're working at home, probably by yourself. What I used to do is just take my jack and make a little plate for the jack and attach the plate to the jack if you don't have a transmission jack. That way you can you don't have to muscle it in and out. Just lift it up, and what you can do sometimes is lift it up till it touches, and just get some small binders and binder it to the jack. Get everything disconnected, slide it back, and drop it. You can do it one person, but two's better. I like doing it with one person because then I don't have to worry about where my fingers are at, because nobody's going to be pushing on that thing but me. So anyway, it's a good saying like that. That's right. Yeah. The 5.7 Hemi and what? I haven't worked on a 5.7. I've been working for a government agency I worked there for 25 years, and I retired. And then I went back to work after being retired for 5 years. So I'm working part-time, part-year right now. And I just do electrical now. But I did drivability, and I've done everything, in 40 years. I worked on big graders. I worked on diesel stuff. I got a 92 Ford F-250 project right now we're doing. That's a 7.3 manual fuel injected IDI, non-turboed, what they call a OBS, old body style Ford pickup. So that's kind of a fun project. We're going to be shooting video on that. Matter of fact, I was going to do the rear brakes and shoot a live on the rear brakes today, but I got busy doing other stuff, and I thought about this. I was like, I tear into that little motor today. This is kind of cool because I can do it inside. So I got a little studio set up in my spare room that's like for just doing video. So, and I got a nice big bench in here. So I was able to bring this in and just work on it right here on the bench. And I can keep the lighting nice, so you guys can see what I'm doing. When I started the live today, I had no audio. I'm like working away. I start seeing people dropping out, and I'm asking them, hey, post where you're from, or say something in the chat, because this is new software for us, the StreamYard. Today was the first time I used it, and we didn't have no audio, so we didn't even know it, and we dropped. Most of the people dropped out of the room because they couldn't hear. So anyhow, so I do lives 3 times a week. We're gonna do motorcycle Mondays, which is we're kind of doing that today on Saturday. I know it's ain't a motorcycle, but it's like a mini bike. We're going to take the frame we got this out of. It looks like a little Ruckus, but it's called a Blitz. Pretty cool looking little mini bike. It's got a really nice wide front end on it. And I'm going to make it look like an old Harley. We're going to put a headlight on it. And I got some old Harley parts. I'm going to put a Harley taillight on it. And then I'm going to build a peanut tank to make it look like a real gas tank. And so we're going to make it look like a little mini chopper. That's going to be a cool project. Remember me, Matthew? Marissal Aguirre. Welcome to the live. You know what? I try to remember everybody, but man, I get so many people in here, I start to forget. If you can tell me something we were talking about, I'll remember you. Matthew, did we talk about something? Was there something we have a discussion? Because we try to walk people through problems too. If you got a problem with your car, we'll try to walk through it. It's kind of handy that I got this phone because I can. I don't have to keep looking at the screen. So what I did, I logged on with another account. So if you see something posted on here from, make sure you guys can see me still. If you guys see something posted on here from Day Tripper, like I'm gonna write hello on here. I've just logged in with another account so I can use the phone, and then if I need to look up real close and see something, I can. I keep track of the live a lot easier on it to keep trying to squint at the screen. I have a way to put this on a big screen. This is going to be nice now because I can I HDMI this to my TV screen. So as I'm doing stuff, I can just look over and see what people are saying. Because these phones are hard to see, especially when you get them across the room a little ways. It's hard to see what's going on in the live. So anywho, on Friday nights we do the trivia. I'm gonna start doing Motorcycle Monday because I'm really into Harleys and stuff. So I'm gonna do a lot of that. And then Tuesdays we'll just talk about tools. When we talk about tools, I like older tools, so I'll show some of the older, really good quality stuff you can still get at a song and a dance. And then I'll bring up tools that I think are worth getting if you're setting up a shop. And we got Amazon links. We're like everybody else, you know. You put Amazon links, and if you buy something, we get a 5%. We get a commission on all that. But, you know, don't think it's $1 million because we haven't hardly made. I've spent more money on YouTube than I've made on it since I started all this. Because we try to give back to the community, you know. When people give us super thanks and super likes and all that, we try to buy tools with it, you know. These are on sale. Man, if you're looking into a battery charger, these are a bargain. They're under $30. Noco is a really good brand. I got a 10 amp and I got 2 of these. These are great if you have a motorcycle. Because if you have a motorcycle, this will keep it from going dead all winter, and then you won't have to replace the battery. And they're cheap. These were on sale for $23 on Prime Day. I tried to push these hard. I almost talked to myself. I seen where it said Day Tripper. I almost said, "Hey, Day Tripper, how's it going?" What did I just do? And you got to watch what you do with these phones. You touch something. Oh, shoot. I just lost my battery. Hang on. get it back? Okay, we got the audio back. Did we lose everybody? I lost the battery. We will see. So I'm gonna get, is it back? Let's see if I can get audio. We will see. Okay, looks like we got the audio back and the video. Let's see if we get audio. We will see. That was a little different. I'm not sure. It looks like you guys are still in the room. Hey, somebody put something in the comments if you would. Well, I can comment so I can see that it's still working. Yeah, looks like we're still live. that was a lesson. I lost my battery in the camera for a second, so I had to switch the batteries out. We are able to maintain the live. That's pretty cool. We didn't lose everybody. But anyway, on Mondays we're going to do motorcycle stuff, and then on we'll do the mini bike stuff on Mondays, and then Tuesdays we're going to do tools, and on Fridays we do trivia. We do automotive questions, and then as I ask the questions, I'm teaching at the same time. So I'll ask a question, like I'll say, what does an alternator do? And then after the question, I'll go into detail and give some instructions about alternator and how to test it and that. So anyway, that's what we do. So hope everybody's having a good day. It's early for me on Saturday. And this here, we just tore into this to kind of look and see. And I can tell that whoever was into this thing, let me get this back where it should be. Get you back forward where you can see the motor. Let's see if we get a good view here. Maybe I should give you guys a look-see around. You can see we got pretty good equipment set up here, so we can do a good live. I can turn this thing down. That's one thing. I wish I could do music while we're doing the lives, but YouTube doesn't allow it. Where are you guys all from? What are you into as far as hot rods go? I got a 71 Chevy C20 pickup, two-wheel drive. It's a custom camper. And then I have a 73 Mercury Comet. That's my daughter's first car. And then I got a couple Harleys. I had 3 Harleys. I sold one. I sold my Road King because I didn't care for the way the bars were set up, and I didn't want to change everything up. And then I just bought this really cool Harley, man. I was so lucky to find this thing. So it's like it's an 84 first year Evolution. So I don't know if you know anything about the Evolution motor on the Harley, but man, it's the best motor they ever built. But I found one, and man, I gave almost nothing for this thing. And it's got 36,000 original miles on it. So I was going to keep the Road King, but then I bought that, and I thought, you know what? I'll just get rid of the Road King and keep that other bike. And then I got a 91 Electric Glide. That's my baby. And that's kind of why I bought the second bike, is so I can ride the other one while I'm having my my Electric Glide rebuilt. I'm going to redo the motor and tranny, put some progressive shocks on it, and it's bone stock. It's got 115,000 miles on it. But anyway. So I think we're as far as we can go on the teardown, because I'm going to have to go get I want to pull this flywheel off without damaging it. So I'm going to have to drag an impact gun in here and get this part off. And just so you guys know, when you turn these like this, you're turning the crank. And then the crank, there's push rods in there. So when the cam moves, it opens and closes the valves. That's what's going on here. When you turn this, that's the crankshaft you're turning. And there's a big rod in there with a piston that's going up and down like that. And that's what produces the power. This turns, and then this fires a spark, and an explosion happens, and it pushes the crank down, and it just keeps doing that. So you have an intake. So when the piston goes down, it has what they call the intake stroke, pulls in the fuel and the air. And then when it comes up, the valve closes, so it compresses the air. And then when it gets to the top of the cylinder, the spark plug fires. And then when it goes back down, that's the power stroke. And then when it comes back up that next time, it opens a valve and lets the exhaust out. So it goes intake, compression, power, exhaust. That's how all engines work. And there's basics when it comes to any engine. There's three things that every engine needs to run. It needs spark, fuel, and compression. If it gets spark at the right time and it's getting fuel and it has compression, it should run. So that's the three things you look for when you're trying to diagnose why something doesn't run. You check for spark. If it has spark, then you check for fuel. And if it has fuel, then you start looking to see why it has no compression. So those three things have to be met for that engine to run. It doesn't matter what kind of motor it is. It doesn't matter if it's a 2025 or a 1925. The principles are the same. So anyhow, we'll probably next week I'm probably going to set up an ignition system on the bench and walk through all that. So today all we did was we just tore some stuff apart on this 212 so we could take a look at it. And I can tell right now that this flywheel is it looks factory. So it's only rated at like 3,600 RPM. So probably going to have to upgrade this flywheel because these things will really tack out, man. They'll tack out like 7,000, 8,000. And these flywheels won't hold together. And this thing you see here, this big wheel, I'm about to lose my power on my laptop now. Hang on a sec. Got to plug my laptop in. Well, that's some of the things you don't think about when you're doing these lives. If you go longer than a half hour, we've had some lives that lasted 4 hours, which is cool, man. People are willing to hang out, for that length of time. But with lives, there's no redo. There's no editing. So if you mess it up, man, you just messed it up. That's the way it goes. That's how live TV is. Same thing, We got some power going here. But we're getting better at it. I'm going to get one of those. They have this little thing for the camera you can get that it doesn't run off a battery. You can just plug it in. It looks like a battery. It goes in there, but it runs off AC voltage, Let me show you one of these wrenches I wanted to show. I didn't really post any links for the live today. Usually I post some tools and stuff so people can look at them. Out of all the tools that I've used over the years, I like snap-on wrenches, but man, these Mac wrenches are nice. They're really thin. Like here's a snap-on compared to this Mac wrench. The Mac is just thinner this way, like where you put it around the bolt, and the overall width of the wrench. So look at the width difference. The Mac is much narrower, so you can get into some tight places. Let me back it up a little bit. You can get into some tighter places with these Mac wrenches than you can with a snap-on. My 10 millimeter, this 10 millimeter Mac is probably my favorite 10 millimeter wrench. But I like Snap-on. They make a good wrench, but Mac has a nice wrench too. The Macs are kind of blunt on the edge, and the Snap-ons are kind of rounded. The thing I don't like about Snap-on wrenches, you get into the bigger wrenches, like from anything from like 9/16 up. Like here's a 14 in a Snap-on. They're so narrow on the edge right here, they hurt your hands. I mean, I can really pull hard, And when you get one of these, you get like a 5/8 snap-on onto something that's really tight and you start reefing on it, it'll freaking hurt your hand. I have to wrap these with a rag because when you really pull hard on them, they hurt, man. I'm no wussy, but I don't like my bones in my hand to hurt from my wrenches. So, but they're good wrenches, you know. I have all snap-on wrenches for metric and standard in my box, but anyhow, if you guys aren't subscribed, do me a favor and give us your subscription. And also, if you would, if you click on that link before you go, that's up here in the chat, that's pinned to the screen, you don't have to buy nothing. Just by clicking on that, it opens up a 24-hour window for us, which helps us. We make 5% if you, let's say you click on that and your wife later on tonight buys some dog food or whatever, skincare, whatever, we'll get a commission on anything that's purchased through Amazon in the next 24 hours. So you help support our channel just by going there and clicking on that link. And also, you know, if you're into thinking about getting one of these motors and walking through it with us, you know, they're cheap, man. They're $180 brand new. And they're pretty versatile. You can buy these at Harbor Freight too. I'm sure you can get them cheaper through Harbor Freight. But if you buy them, look around because they have a Hemi motor and they got a non-Hemi. It seems like the non-Hemi motors are easier to work on because there's not as much clearance issues. Sometimes when you put these together, you have to go in and grind stuff away because there's clearance issues between the flywheel and the cam and a couple things on the cases. But the non-Hemis, you know, they don't have that problem with them. These are cool little motors, man. It's a good way to learn auto mechanics. If you have a son, daughter, grandson, granddaughter, this would be a great way to teach them how to work on stuff, you know. So anyhow, I think we're going to end the live with that. And I want to say thanks for everybody that showed up and just hung out with me. Sometimes, let me see, sometimes late in the evenings, we do some really long lives. Some people will come hang out. We just talk about hot rods and motorcycles and the good old days when we used to be able to buy cool cars and stuff. So if you're into that kind of stuff, hot rods and just wrenching and, you know, fabrication or any of that stuff, come hang out with us, man. We got a pretty good crew going here. So anyway, appreciate everybody that showed up. If you would, before you leave, please help out the channel if you would and go click on that link that has the motor on it and you can look at it. And then if you decide to buy one, great. If you don't, that's fine too, because it opens up a 24-hour window for us and we make 5% on everything that people buy through the channel. Any of the links that's in our videos and all that, we get 5%. And that's the way everyone does that. It's just a way to make a little revenue. And it helps out the content creators because, you know, I spend a lot of time doing the videos. I really do. Usually a really good, like a 4-minute video, you'll spend 8 hours doing all the editing and, you know, doing all the story blocks and, you know, just getting the video together. You'll spend 8 hours putting a video together. So I appreciate it when people go and they comment on the videos and all that because it helps me. And I didn't tell my story today. Probably should. I try to tell it, and I don't tell it just to give people sorry for me, but I tell it because, you know, maybe you can keep this from happening to you. And I set my whole, I was married for 39 years and I lost my wife to pancreatic cancer. So that's why I went back to work. And I tell people this story. So if you're in the same situation, you know, try to plan for that because I didn't plan for it. I set my retirement, everything up. So if something happened to me, she was taken care of and she would have been. But she passed before I did. And I never thought about that would happen. And when it happened, I lost half of my income. So I had to go back to work. So I went back to work after, you know, being retired for 5 years. And then, but I work part-time now, part-time, part year. So I'm getting ready to go back to work, and I'll work from like now until about March. And then I'll be off for the rest of the year. So during the off season, I really work hard on my YouTube. I just try to treat it like a regular job. And then when I'm working, I just have to work like 2 jobs. That's how that works. Anyway, I hope everybody had a good time today. You got to learn a few little things. And we'll be tearing into this thing. We're going to tear all the way into it. So anyway, I'm going to call it a day. Hope everybody has a great Saturday. And as Go Big always says, go big or go home. Hey, we got hats coming too, guys. We're going to have merch pretty soon. Later.